Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Junix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Your favorite day of the week.
Do you know, it doesn't feel like Friday. What's happening? Too much. Well, all right, it is my favorite day of the week. Good morning, Vimbai. Mutiri Ekpe. How are you this morning?
Junix,
good morning,
great, thank you.
Rufi on fire. How are you this morning?
Morning.
Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending by discussing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Democracy Day speech at the National Assembly. Well, on Thursday, the president, while addressing lawmakers, urged Nigeria's security agencies not to harass citizens for criticizing his government, reaffirming his commitment to protecting democratic rights, particularly the right to free speech. The president told Nigerians in his speech that they could call him names and he will still stand up for democracy to defend citizens' rights to do so. Let's take a look.
Do not be afraid to bear an unkind word spoken against you. Some of the best advice a politician gets sometimes comes from his most ferocious opponents, if they think well, though. We do not seek silence because the imposed silence of repressed voices may breed chaos and ill will. While malicious slander and libel should not go unattended, no one should bear the brunt of injustice for merely writing a bad report about me or call me names. Democracy requires a fair degree of tolerance for harsh words and stinging insults, particularly when they are pained because of their losses. Call me any name. I'm not here to make you happy politically. And I will still call upon democracy to defend your right to do so.
Well, all right, fantastic. I'd like to take a reaction, if you can pull up that reaction. And this person wrote, "That's the spirit of true democracy, where we don't have to agree to coexist. Thank you, Mr. President, for acknowledging every Nigerian's right to speak, even when opinions differ. We'll keep holding on to that freedom as we push for a better Nigeria." I think that's a very positive reaction and good for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to say that, he defends the right to free speech. Well, in that whole address, Tinubu also paid tribute to the heroes of Nigeria's democracy, including MKO Abiola, and highlighted his administration's efforts in economic reform and national security. He urged lawmakers to support his pro-industry and pro-agriculture legislative agenda, stating that he wants to make agriculture sexy by introducing tractors. Vimbai, we saw that story, make agriculture sexy. I love that comment. It did trend all over social media. Meanwhile, a former Bayelsa State Governor, Seriake Dixon, criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday over the emergency rule in Rivers State and the continued suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara in celebration of the 26th anniversary of democratic rule. Dixon said the president missed the chance to redeem his government and clear it of wrongdoing, adding that Tinubu cannot celebrate democracy while suppressing it in Rivers State. Let's take a look.
But you cannot be celebrating democracy. You cannot be flaunting yourself as a Democrat on the one hand, and on the other hand, be trampling democracy under your big presidential foot in Rivers State. The president missed a golden opportunity to raise and deepen democracy in Nigeria by restoring on today's Democracy Day democratic and normal civil constitutional rule in Rivers State. Of all the things the president said, the president was silent about Rivers State. And today is about democracy. It's not because of Fubara's nationality. It's not about Fubara's party, if he has any. And these days, you can't even be sure which party people belong to. But these are issues about respecting the democratic rights of the people of Rivers State under the Constitution. So I'm disappointed, firstly, that the president never said a word about the undemocratic developments in Rivers State, which he has enabled, which he has brought about, which he has sanctioned, and which he continues to sustain, and creating an impression as if all is well. No. As long as any part of Nigeria is under military rule, democracy is endangered in Nigeria as a whole.
Rufai, I think Dixon there is on point.
Very, very on point. In fact, more than on point. And we've always said this. President Tinubu claims he's a Democrat. But are some of the things he has done, are they democratic in nature? No. The state of emergency is one, and it's a dark spot. But on the flip side, you still saw Fubara going to visit him and say, Daddy, yo to him. Probably things were panning out, he might return soon. But the fact that that was done in the first place is a blight on this country. Because if I remember correctly, the same President Tinubu did make his voice heard when Olusegun Obasanjo did the same. In fact, the argument then was the reason why Olusegun Obasanjo could do the same was because he had a military past. Then Goodluck Jonathan also did the same, but not at this level of removing the governor. And people argued. And now President Tinubu, that is totally civilian, has also done the same. So Seriake Dixon is 100% correct. The next point I'm going to make this morning is also, in as much as I thank the president and I appreciate him for recognizing these people, it's also the loud omissions we saw in that list. I have a lot of people that I'm happy about in that list, the likes of Kiki. And like I told him, I will no longer call him Kayode Komolafe Kiki again. I will call him OON. And anytime I call him that OON, there are implications. That's just it. So OON. So I'm happy about that. But the loud omissions, people like Sowore. Sowore was a man that used his youth to fight for this country and fight for deepening democracy. Sowore is about 54 today, he was about 22 years of age then.
Right.
Where he was fighting. The likes of Dele Momodu that had to run. The likes of Kayode Fayemi, the likes of the entire crew of Kudirat Radio.
Right. Speaking about Sowore, what about his thoughts about, defending free speech? Because, Sowore has been one of those huge critics of this administration. What did you make of the president's comment about the right
the president can talk. There's a difference between speech and action. Oji, I tell you this. Do you know how many cases of journalists that wrote stories that have been put in security gulag that have had to intervene? Is it because we don't come out and say most of these cases in public? That we've had to intervene? That's why a lot of people criticize me and say, Rufai, you don't do anything about this government. They don't know the things I do to repair this government's image in the background. And I will just call those in authority and say, see, if this is coming, it's going to be a blight on your administration. So fix it once and for all. Do you know how many I have dealt with? So the president can talk about right to free speech. Are the people working for him, do they listen to what he says? Don't they have their own mindsets? And that's why I put it, do you know how many I said, please, if this gets out, you will not like the blight on your administration. So please, the president can say, what do you expect him to say? He will say, no, you can abuse me all you want. But it's in the implementation, like they say, the taste of the pudding is in the eating.
It's in the eating. Well, all right.
So it's not just about saying, he's standing up tall. And that's why we stand up against the president when the state of emergency thing happened. The likes of Dele Momodu, the likes of Baba Femi Ojudo. Yes, some people argue that he had been given national honor before, but these are people that should be appreciated. I will also say to Egbo Bayo Onanuga
we have a section for that.
A big congratulations to Egbo Bayo Onanuga because he truly deserves it. Egbo Bayo Onanuga suffered for democracy in this country, and I give him his honor. It doesn't mean I don't disagree with him when it's time. But congrats, sir.
Well, the president also mocked opposition parties, stating that it was indeed a pleasure to witness the parties in disarray. He advised them to examine their internal processes rather than blaming the APC for their crisis, dismissing the notion that the APC is attempting to establish a one-party state. Tinubu highlighted his own history as a lone progressive governor resisting a one-party state attempt in 2003. He added that the APC will be guilty of political malpractice if it refused to accept those seeking to join the party.
At this point, I plead for your indulgence so that I may put a terrible rumor to bed. To those who ring the alarm that the APC is intent on a one-party state, I offer you a most personal promise. While your alarm may be as a result of their panic, it rings an error. At no time in the past, nor any instance in the present, and at no future junction, shall I view the notion of one-party state as good for Nigeria.
But still on Democracy Day, former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi took a swipe at the Tinubu administration, accusing it of hypocrisy and playing politics instead of addressing the needs of Nigerians. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja on Thursday, Obi said the government has spent the last 2 years manipulating narratives and shifting blame rather than delivering measurable progress. Let's take a look.
It is most troubling that in 2 years in office, the present government has brought our nation to the point where our leaders now celebrate and endorse failure, lies, and propaganda. The government today, rather than show genuine accountability and measurable progress, focuses on manipulating the narratives, gaslighting the public, shifting blame, and weaponizing governance. Meanwhile, Nigerians live in a worsening and worrisome insecurity, widespread corruption, hunger, and general despondence. There are no clear benchmark for measuring tangible development as we continue to witness the collapse of key indicators like education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation, which are the parameters for measuring national progress.
Well, all right, Dr. Abati, opposition leader there, saying that the Tinubu administration is playing politics. This is what we've been hearing.
Well, the thing to note, because some people may make the comment and say, why is Peter Obi making the rounds? He has appeared on Arise, channels, TVC, News Central, you know, and all of that. You know, Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar also issued a statement on the occasion of June 12. The thing to realize here is that this June 12 is for all of us. It's not only government, it's not only the ruling party that has the right to comment on it. And that's why you have opposition leaders also expressing their views. Earlier on, we quoted Engineer Yabagi Sani of the ADP. Now we have Mr. Obi on the screen. You know, if you check the papers, you also see statements by other leaders, including Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar. Now, what did Mr. Peter Obi say? He said, look, 20 million Nigerians, according to WHO, have mental issues. And that's a frightening figure in a country where most of your psychiatrists, you know, they've gone into political appointments, or some of them have abandoned psychiatry. They are running barbing salons or hotels, or they have become farmers. 20 million in this population. The figure may even be more than that, because the way some people behave, you see that they actually need the help of a psychiatrist. Mr. Peter Obi made a point that, look, Nigeria has the largest number of children suffering from malnutrition. I guess he must have been quoting UNICEF. He says there is a hunger in the land. We don't need to be told that there is hunger in the land. He says there is poverty in the land, walking on stilts. We don't need to argue with him over that. In other words, he was confronting us at that press conference with the reality that, look, Nigeria is still a work in progress. Where people may disagree with him is to say, oh, what Tinubu has been doing since he got there is to play politics. That may be a very harsh assessment of the administration. And I think the administration has done a very good job in the last few weeks of advertising what it has been doing. Even the legislature, we have 2 senators on this program this morning. They were very defensive in saying that the National Assembly has been very productive. But I don't want to go into the details of helping the Tinubu administration to counter what Mr. Peter Obi has said. There are enough people who have been employed to do that job. And I believe that in due course, they will come forward. But it's good to have both sides of the coin. More so, as President Tinubu says, he doesn't mind criticism. More so, as he says, you can call me names. I mean, it's your right. I would defend your right to call me names. What is not allowed is malicious slander or libel. And that is the point to be made. And I think that President Tinubu, that portion of his speech should be specially carved out, and copies of that portion of the speech made available to all the people working for him, including ministers who like to abuse people, including governors who like to arrest anybody that criticizes them on social media. That look, this is the spirit of the Tinubu administration: tolerance, unity, people realizing that other people have rights, and that right includes the right of bystanders and busybodies like us. So the president has empowered us now. Go ahead and talk. Criticize me. I'm ready. So you have been energized. You have been empowered by the president. He said, anybody that says, we will tell him, the man who has appointed you has given us the power. He has reminded us of our right under the Constitution.
No, but
the president spoke publicly.
No,
he slandered that the president says he doesn't want. No, but slander and libel are not even allowed. Yeah. But I think the spirit of it, tolerance, no dictatorship, no one-party state. I think that the president spoke well along those lines.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the fact that, look, robust democracy, participatory democracy. That is the spirit. It's now for the president to walk the talk and call people who do not believe in his ideas to order, to behave themselves. Otherwise, that would be an endorsement, a presidential endorsement to do otherwise of banality and gagaism.
Well, all right. Bimba, your comments on all the stories before we head over to Ogun State.
Well, very quickly, I felt that Democracy Day could have taken a more of a unifying tone. I think that people were looking forward to hearing a message of encouragement. Yes, it's not the president's duty to help the opposition. The opposition is in disarray and they need to get their house in order. However, in the spirit of the day, I think that those who are accusing him of politicizing the day somewhat may be more in order because the bystanders were really looking forward to something more, something that deepens the spirit of democracy. Having said that, to the statements by Senator Seriake Dixon, which were very much on point, there's a picture circulating online right now, I'm sure it will soon be verified, of Governor Fubara sitting on the same couch as Minister Nyesom Wike as we await developments. Yesterday would have been a fantastic day to announce that, all is well, the issues have been settled. However, this is the sticking point that we continue to wait for resolution. Another of the sticking points in the spirit of free speech is that op-ed that was shared by the diplomatic community, which spoke to the issues around the Cybercrime Act and highlighted the case of Dele Farotimi, which remains an issue that will be highlighted under this administration. It's on their track record. So it's very important that this administration is able to do all that's necessary to ensure that there's no recurrence of such instances and that the words spoken by the president, as Dr. Abati has said, as Rufai has already said, are lived, and that those who work beneath him and around the administration also walk the talk.
Interpretation of the Yoruba adage I was saying, Bami nomo mi kodeno olomel, means when somebody says, help me beat and discipline my child, they don't really mean it. Be careful. That's all I said.
All right, I'll say we're in a democracy. and we'll just continue to observe the rules of democracy. We'll head over to Ogun State now, where some attendees at the just concluded Ojudo Festival in Ijebu-Ode are suffering from several degrees of burn injuries after an explosion rocked the festival. There are at least 5 people who are injured that are receiving medical care. Here's the moment the explosion occurred. This was really hard to watch, and you know, this story has been trending for over a week since the Ojudo Festival, you know, happened. We know that the injured people are all members of the Kuku family. Our international correspondent Adefemi Akinsoya visited the Oluola Specialist Hospital in Ijebu-Ode, where there were at least 3 victims in the room. She spoke to one of the victims, and despite the severity of the injuries, the speaker insists he will still be a gun beater at the next year's Ojude Oba.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah for our life. Next year, I am going to use 2 guns. That's our family gun. And we're going to do another one too. I will use my left hand and the second hand to shoot one like this, by special grace of Almighty Allah. We have a lot of guns that we are shooting. And bullet, they called it that thing in Yoruba etu. Are you getting me? In that our family, we are like 10 actors that we are shooting gun. We know how to shoot gun very well. That local gun. No. And we are ready to gather ourselves to load. Immediately we enter palace, we have trigger a lot, and the time that they call us to be participating from Ojudo, so we're ready to start doing the dramatic. As we just opened the etu like this, we just saw light come from nowhere, no traces, and the light caused all this injury to us. We are about 18 people in only one family of Baloguku. So the what I just saw last, so everybody collapsed. They just rushed me to this hospital.
Well, this was really a sad incident, Vimbai.
This is terrible, especially after, you know, all the beautiful fanfare that we saw. It was a wonderful outing, but just a reminder that as this wonderful festival continues to grow in scale, because the popularity is skyrocketing, there are reports of those coming from the diaspora who want to be a part of it. So many people who've never, people who are not even Yoruba or from Ogun State came in for the purposes of this festival. So this is just a reminder of us trying to scale our crowd control, our coordination, all the other logistics around such an occasion to meet this demand. This type of incident was preventable, very unfortunate. I remember I was speaking to somebody and I was saying that, you know, also when the Calabar Carnival started, it started small, it's humble beginnings. OjyOkpe is not a new festival, but this newfound popularity, thanks to social media and so forth, means that maybe there will need to be a rethink. As much as, yes, it's important for it to be centered around the King's Court, maybe they need to create a carnival route similar to what you have in Calabar, where there's lots of free area for the various processions to be able to move about, and so that there's a little bit of space and distance between the various the various groups and those who need to do their fireworks, their gun beating and so forth. It really needs to be regulated, because it has just sort of, you know, exploded in population. Don't mind the pun. It has exploded, and I wish them a speedy recovery.
I do too. I mean, like you've said, the need for regulation really is paramount. We did see that most festivals are crowded like that. But such measures like explosives, I believe they were like, the fireworks display and all of that caused the sort of explosion that we saw. And like I said, our international correspondent, Adefemi Akinsoya, is following up on the story, and she's visiting the people at the site. Did you want to say something?
Well, just to say that, we hope that lessons will be learned from this particular incident, and precautions will be taken in subsequent festivals.
Yes.
Simply to say that nobody should come to the Ojudo Festival with fireworks or crackers, to learn from this experience. Because the thing is to prevent a reoccurrence. And we hope that the state government will collaborate with the organizers to make sure that the persons who were injured get the best possible care.
Thank you. That was exactly what I was calling for the state government. I believe that the specialist hospital, like I mentioned, Uluola Specialist Hospital, some victims are there. So we do call on the state governor to provide some succor for those people. Now, we have seen the story of the lone survivor of the Air India plane crash, which crashed near the airport in Ahmedabad city in western India on Tuesday. The Air India flight was en route to London Gatwick Airport in the United Kingdom with 242 people on board. The lone survivor, a British citizen, who was a passenger on seat 11A, was identified as Vishwash Kumar Ramesh. He was said to have jumped off the plane before it crashed. I mean, I think that this man, I don't know how he will tell his story for the future, but I believe that, this is one story that it is so rare to see. I mean, when we saw that plane crash, we were like, God, please. And then we find out that one person was able to jump off that plane. But also the conversation around Boeing, the conversation around safety, the conversation about the reoccurrence of these crashes, Rufai.
Okay. One thing is certain, this man's life will never remain the same. We pray he gets well. What about those that have lost their life? Our souls goes out to them. His brother also. He's going to be the subject of many documentaries in the days to come. Many top media outlets will be wanting interviews for him. He could even make a killing from those interviews by telling the stories and many documentaries. So his life would tremendously change. He's going to be a celebrity of some sort, but from a disaster like this. One thing is certain in all of this, we still want to see what will be done, how the DNA that have been pieced together will be able to get the other families. CNN 18, a CNN subsidiary in India, owned by Mushkef and Ban, did a fabulous job at it. They went to one of the crash site of the plane, actually, the medical hostel, and they showed the bags and the luggages of the people that passed in that plane crash. Very sad. He was brave enough. I think he wasn't even supposed to sit at that seat. Something happened, his seat was swapped. Then before the plane landed, he saw the opportunity, activated the emergency door, jumped out.
Within 30 seconds.
Within 30 seconds and all of that. So that was why he was safe. And when that happened, he's been living to tell the story. There's another video making the round. I think it was from Daily Mail, showing that somebody was even talking as the plane had started to fly, how things were not working in the plane, how the screens were not working and all of that.
There's somebody who took the flight from New Delhi to
Ahmedabad
before it took off from Ahmedabad.
Before it crashed. How things were not working in the plane. Some analysts have talked about, they probably had a problem with the lift, but I would like to say let's wait for the flight data recorder before all of that is examined. Like you said, Narendra Modi is on ground. Let's see how all of this pans out. Let's see what the rescue mission is going to be like and how we can, continue to get to the end of this. But like you said, this is a bad one for Boeing. Boeing has been the eye of the storm. But in all fairness, the Dreamliner has a very good safety record. So probably what happened, I think more investigation will be called out.
Dr. Bati, we have to take our milestone story.
Okay, just wanted to say the investigations have started. The British are helping. Tata Group owns Air India. They are promising a compensation for each family of about £56,000, for every victim in that incident. But the tragedy will not be mitigated by compensation for families. And then Boeing, of course, is in the news again in a negative manner.
Right. Like we say, may the souls of those that lost their lives in that Air India crash, may they rest in peace. Let's take our story on a milestone, highlighting the distinguished Nigerians, both living and dead, who played crucial roles in the nation's struggle for democracy. On Thursday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu conferred national honors on 66 Nigerians called the Democracy Heroes. Well, among the prominent posthumous recipients is Major General Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, a former Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, and a key figure in Nigeria's military and political history. He was awarded the highest national honor, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. Shehu Musa was a leading pro-democracy advocate. In the 1990s, he was imprisoned by the Abacha regime and died in detention. And we have the late Kudirat Abiola, wife of the late MKO Abiola, was posthumously honored with the Commander of the Federal Republic. Kudirat Abiola was a pro-democracy activist who became a prominent voice against military rule during the 1990s and was assassinated in 1996 for her activism. President Tinubu also honored Professor Humphrey Nwosu, who was the chairman of the defunct National Electoral Commission for the June 12, 1993 election, Nigeria's freest and fairest election. He was honored with the Commander of the Order of the Niger. His honor comes after a motion to immortalize him by naming the INEC headquarters in Abuja after him was rejected by the Senate. President Tinubu also honored environmental activist Ken Saro-Wiwa, who led the movement for the survival of the Ogoni people, campaigning against environmental degradation in the Niger Delta. He was awarded the Commander of the Order of the Niger. Ken Saro-Wiwa was executed in 1995 under the Abacha regime. Saro-Wiwa was honored with other 8 members of the Ogoni 9 who were granted full presidential pardons. Now, among the living recipients included Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, who was awarded the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, Nigeria's second highest national honor. Soyinka has been a vocal critic of military and civilian dictatorship in Nigeria. President Tinubu also honored human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, known for his fearless legal advocacy during military regimes and beyond. He was conferred with the Commander of the Order of the Niger, veteran journalist and founder of Vanguard newspapers, one of Nigeria's most respected journalists and publisher, Sam Amuka Kpemu, also known as Uncle Sam. He was honored with the Commander of the Order of the Niger. Well, as he celebrates his 90th birthday today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has paid tribute to the elder statesman, who he says remains a shining example of dedication, resilience, and integrity within the media industry. Well, another veteran journalist is our very own ombudsman, Kayode Komolafe, who was awarded the Officer of the Order of the Niger for his contributions to journalism and public discourse. Kayode Komolafe has served in editorial leadership roles at This Day and other prominent media platforms. President Tinubu also honored Bayo Ononuga, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's special advisor on media and publicity. He was honored with the Commander of the Order of the Niger. Bayo is also a veteran journalist and co-founder of the news magazine, known for its bold reporting during the military era. Now, finally on our milestone list is Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani, who was honored with the Commander of the Order of the Niger in recognition of his tireless contributions to democracy and national development. Sani was detained multiple times during Nigeria's struggle for democratic governance. He is the only serving governor included in this year's National Honors List. A huge congratulations to all of those people that I just mentioned and the 66 Nigerians that were honored. I know Dr. Abati and Rufai has had an opportunity to speak about the honorees. I'll give you the floor for about 30 seconds if you can.
I think, most that needs to be said has been said. Some of the things that stand out to me are, number one, the number of media people that we see in this list just goes to remind you of the importance of media and independence of media, boldness of media in ensuring that democracy remains a reality and that it continues to thrive and deepen. So I think, and then very quickly on Ken Saro-Wiwa as well and the Ogoni 9 and the pardoning that has happened is hugely significant, but many might say that more still needs to be done because deeper investigations also need to happen. Fantastic. So overall, I think
kudos to all of them. I would personally like to congratulate our ombudsman.
Of course.
Kayode Komolafe, he should know. Mr. KK, he should know that what? It has implications. It has huge implications. Not a small feat. Congratulations to all the honorees. We'll take our good news report now, highlighting the late Afrobeat legend, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who has been inducted into the 2025 Grammy Hall of Fame for his iconic 1976 album, Zombie.
Zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie, zombie no go unless you tell him to go. Zombie, zombie no go stop unless you tell him to stop. Zombie, zombie no go turn unless you tell him to turn. Zombie, zombie no go think unless you tell him to think. Zombie, zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie. Zombie not go unless you tell him to go.
This is well deserving. We know that the Recording Academy made the announcement earlier this week, stating that the album meets the criteria for recordings with lasting, qualitative, and historical significance. The award was received on behalf of the Kuti family by Fela's eldest son, Femi Kuti, who described it as a great honor. I mean, kudos to the Kuti family. You want to say something?
The likes of Fela were churning out songs like Zombie. Government was fighting them and beating them up.
Yes.
But look at who got the eternal recognition.
Absolutely.
That Zombie government is long gone. Fela Zombie lives on. Keep speaking truth to power.
Absolutely.
Zombie, oh zombie.
Zombie, I love you. Zombie, I love that. I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. And kudos to the Kuti family. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.